looks like. Come and land. Come and land, egret. I haven't seen one of you for a long time. He's coming into land like a big Boeing behind the tree. That's an interesting bird to have. Can you see him or not? Great white egret. Huge egret. Oh, good night, Mr. Lion, young man. Now, with nothing much happening in the rest of our part of the reserve, I'm going to sit here until, well, for some time still. Circumstances can change very suddenly. If something else comes along, or if more buffalo arrive, could also stay the same, but it's interesting to just sit and watch. Is your view of those two lying down, is it blocked by this simple bush? Swallow drinking. Identify. Hello, Cassie. Well, first off, Kathy's question, is he interested in his buffalo? Is he just watching them? He's only just watching them. There's nothing, at the moment, he's not even watching them, actually. He's laid down, going to sleep. There's nothing he can do. As a lone lion against 4 buffalo, there's nothing he can do about it. He's lucky that they haven't, that the wind is in his favor, because they're likely to chase him off. In fact, if they got hold of him, they'd kill him. So, from that point of view, all he can do is watch. I think even the giraffe, although they're both young giraffe and they are moving off, he knows there's nothing he can really do about them. He's also perhaps a little inexperienced to be able to go after something so big on his own. In terms of how often do lions eat and how often do they have to hunt, or if he, because they had this wildebeest 2 days ago, when does he need to eat again? Actually, there's no answer to that question, because, and I'm going to try and answer this without using my usual word, but there is no pattern. It could be in the next hour and it could be in the next week. There's absolutely no way of knowing when he's going to eat next or when he will hunt next. Or predators are very much opportunists, and once they've eaten something and they're full, they tend to spend time sleeping to digest. But even so, when lions are full and an opportunity arises, they quite likely will hunt if the opportunity arises, if something presents itself. So they can hunt twice in a day, but they could also hunt twice in a week. It could take a week before they hunt again. There's so many factors that there's so many factors that influence that kind of answer, because there's hang on. Yeah, talking. Missed all of that. The number of individuals in a pride, the relationship between males and females in the pride, the relationship between adults and youngsters in the pride, all determine or are influencing factors in how much each individual gets to eat when they do make a kill. The other factor to bring into the equation is whether it was a big animal they ate previous, or whether it was a large animal that they fed on, whether they finished it. Hang on, because otherwise I interrupt myself to listen to it and then I lose my train of thought. Train of thought or chain of thought? So there isn't an answer to a question like how often do lions eat or how often do they hunt. There isn't a regularity to it that you can put a routine, because there's so many different factors in the equation and it's such a random thing. So I hope that does answer the question somewhat, even though I can't answer it in its entirety. I couldn't tell you. It's not as predictable as us humans. I know that when I get back to camp I'm going to eat, and then at lunchtime I'm going to need to eat again, and then dinner I'll need to eat again. Conventional 3 meals a day, or some people have 5 or 6 smaller meals. But out here you could say that the herbivores, their meals and their eating habits are predictable, but the predators are not. You can't tell when a predator is going to eat next. Hello Beverly, Australia. Why do I think he's not calling today? Gosh. Another question that's difficult to answer. I haven't the faintest idea. Only he knows why he's not calling. It could be the fact that he was calling for 2 days and he didn't get an answer. He's given up. Could be because the temperature is different today. It's warmer. There's no point in calling. The sound is not going to travel very far. He was calling last night. We heard him during the night. It's quite possible he'll call again this evening. But it's difficult to get inside his mind and to know exactly why it is he's not calling right now, other than the fact that it looks like he just wants to sleep. Keep up with the story of him and find some answers for not only myself, but of course for all of you out there who are watching. And the more we see him, the more questions are raised as to what is going to transpire, what's going to happen, whether he's going to go back to the pride, or whether they will come back here, or what is going to happen. We don't know, and that's why we want to come and see him as often as we can, or find him as often as we can, especially while he's still in signal range. You hear something? What? apart from the oxpeckers. We are quite close to the edge of the reserve, and there is a camp just outside the reserve on the other side of the fence where there was dogs barking. Does it sound like a growling? How does it go? Put your earphones on, put the mic up. I'm not going to answer that question just yet because I just want to listen to something through the... No. That's a giraffe. Full movement. Hello, Marsha. Louisville. Home of the Louisville Slugger. Actually, home of a lot of things, Louisville. Thanks for all your Louisville facts, Marsha. Quite interesting. Egret's coming closer. Marsha was asking if egrets are ever poached for their feathers. Not that I know of, Marsha.
What's your hat?
Which side? That feather?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that kudu bull. Wow. He hasn't seen it yet either. Massive kudu bull on the other side of the dam, looking our way. But he's not coming to the water yet. He's moving through the background. Gosh, he's big. Marsha, the one animal that we have that is under threat because of, not for the feathers, but for really unusual reasons, are vultures. Vultures are under threat at the moment because of some belief that, well, there's some people that believe that vultures have an insight into the future because they can wake up in the morning and fly straight to a kill or a carcass. Sorry, I just had once again listening to the radio in the middle of me talking to you, Marsha. Excuse me. Very patient egret. hoping it would catch something. I'm going to stand on the rock. No, not going to stand on the rock. I was hoping we'd get a nice reflection of it, but we're not. Not likely now. It's going to just have egrets back. But because it's believed that vultures have this insight into the future and that they can tell the future, there is a belief that if you have a vulture's head outside your door, or I don't even know how they do it, but they take a vulture's head and they either hang it outside the door or above their bed, that they will dream the lotto numbers. As ridiculous as it sounds, hundreds and hundreds of vultures are being killed for this. It's difficult to change the beliefs of humans once they get something into their thick skulls. Buffalo flat on his side, like the lion. It's just really unusual. Lion sleeping, buffalo sleeping, kind of a truce, as it were. I don't think the buffalo knows that he's here. There was one buffalo that knew he was here because he started coming towards the lion, and the lion got up and moved a little bit. Don't know where the kudu's gone. The kudu's gone into the back there where the giraffe are. There's a lovely big kudu bull. Kathy in Mississippi. Will lion hunt for the thrill of the hunt? Not really. Lion hunt for food, Kathy. The energy requirements to hunt are quite extreme, and the only way to replenish that energy is by eating. So hunting is purely a means to eat. Don't think one can put enjoyment under some of the emotions going through a lion's head at the time of a hunt. I think it's purely an eating thing. It's different when lion get into, say, domestic cattle. If lion get out of the reserves and they get into the rural areas where there are cattle. The same as leopard. When leopard can get into a goat herd or I think even wolves and sheep, any predator really, they get into domestic stock. The fact that domestic stock don't know what a predator is and they just stand around, the predator goes on a killing spree and it just kills because the animals are there, not necessarily to eat. They'll eat some, but they tend to go into the whole killing mode, and there are animals there to be killed, but it's not a thrill of the hunt thing. Predators have to hunt and they have to conserve energy in case they are not successful. No predator is so successful that they will succeed every time they go hunting, and so it's vital that they conserve some energy from a missed hunt to be able to hunt again. And there's no energy to spend if just for the sake of hunting or just for the sake of the thrill of the hunt. It doesn't really work that way. Go to that again, please. Is that a question? Oh, okay. All right, thanks. Really crackly radio. Dia wants to know if he's heading to the Pride in the North. he's not at the moment, dear. No, he's been in the same place for the last 2 or 3 days. At the moment, he's not going anywhere. At the moment, he's sleeping. But no, he's not heading to... He might later. One of the reasons why we want to come out here and find him every drive is to find out whether he is going to go back or not, what is going to happen with him, what he's going to decide to do, or what the other lion are going to decide to do. But at the moment, he's not heading back to the pride in the north. No, he's staying here for some reason. Only the lion know why he is still here, and the rest of the pride is up in the north. I'm thinking, maybe it's because it's time for him to leave the pride. But only time is going to be able to tell with this lion what is going to happen. And if he goes out of signal range, all we can do is listen to the radio and get updates from the other guides to see what might happen. But for the time being, while he is here, at least we can watch him. But especially a day like today, it's already getting very hot, quite hot. Hotter than an English summer, and it's nearly midwinter. So I don't think he's going to go anywhere today. I think he's probably going to stay here. But he's got 4 buffalo here at the pan. There are a giraffe in the background. There's just been a kudu that walked by. There are no doubt other animals in the vicinity. He might get chased off. He might chase something. Most likely he's going to lie in the shade. But the shade is going to move, and I think that he'll probably go down to the bottom of this dam wall, below the dam wall, because that's where the best shade is. Or he could maybe move, I don't know, he could move into the shade anywhere in this nearest vicinity. But it's an open book right now, and anything can happen. Shame, that buffalo is getting irritated by flies. Where's the egret going? Trying to get lift. Egret's decided there's better fishing elsewhere. Egret's gone. Maybe he's finding it too crowded at this dam. Quelia must be up north somewhere. Where is it on Waterbuck? Oh, Quella, not Quelia. Quella Dam. I don't see Quella Dam. Oh, there, Quella Dam. Oh, that's that big dam you were telling me about. So no wonder we can't find the elephant. They're so far west. So maybe they'll come back our way. Heard an elephant at Quella Dam. Hello, Steph, Southampton. What happened with Larry Gang? I haven't the faintest idea, Steph. I haven't heard any. I don't know. Winterthorn Crossing. Buffalo Line. Yes, here. That's the bird. Probably down there. Steph, no, since leaving Juma in November of 2011, I haven't heard anything about the baboons. I've occasionally had an update from people when they been on the camera and they tell me that they've seen Karula or something. But other than that, I haven't the faintest idea of what's going on or what's going on there. I think you'd have to ask the zoomies who are on the Djuma waterhole cam whether they still see the baboons at the dam, whether the baboons still climb all over the cameras. Personally, I don't know. I don't have access to watch that camera. I don't have access to the internet when I'm at home, so I don't get on to view the cams. And sadly, when I do go to town and I'm on the internet, I have a very short period of time in which to do a few emails and a few things. So I have lost contact with pretty much everything that's at Djuma. I do bump into owners of Djuma from time to time in town. I guess I could ask them next time I'm there if I bump into them. But I'd say the best people to ask would be the Pondis, or not the Pondis, the Zoomies. People who operate the camera at the dam. The Djuma junkies. I'm sleeping. One of the reasons why he's not calling. Morning, Ed, from you. Speaking of zoomies, Ed was a zoomie for a long time. I think Ed's referring to yesterday when we were so close to when we were sitting next to him and he was roaring. Ed wants to know if I felt safe. I did. I haven't really felt threatened by him at all. I mean, had to drive relatively close to him now, and he allowed us to just sneak past him. And you can see where he is sitting and where the road is in relationship to him. To get to this side of him, instead of going all the way around the dam, I actually just slowly drove past him, and he looked up at us, made eye contact, was looking at Becky. The heart beats a little bit faster, and it's quite an adrenaline rush getting that close to a male lion. It's different, of course, if he were to come close to us, but not whether he would jump up and run away, or whether he would snarl at us or snap at us. But as he was roaring yesterday, and the fact that he managed to portray or display, or he wasn't displaying any aggressive behavior whatsoever. He was mostly uninterested in us. He was more intent on doing his own thing. So no, I didn't really feel threatened at all.